15 seconds. That's how quickly that Greenwood Mall shooting came to an end. From the time the suspect left the food court bathroom to the time he was taken out, 15 seconds. In fact, in just the short time I've been talking to you, Eli Dicken pulled a gun, took aim, and took out the threat.
Surrounding the area.
Active shooter, Greenwood Mall. That is messed up. That is Greenwood. Active shooter.
At approximately 6:05 tonight, Johnson County 911 Center took multiple calls of an active shooter in the food court of the Greenwood Park Mall. As you can imagine, this type of situation is horrible. It's rocked us to our core. We're still very early in this investigation. What we do know right now is that we have what appears to be one shooter. Looks to be an adult male. We have not identified him yet. We do not have a motive yet. It appears that he had a rifle with several magazines of ammunition, entered the food court and began shooting. We have 5 victims. 4 have been confirmed deceased, and 2 are at Eskenazi Hospital with wounds, and we do not have an update on their condition at this time. I'm going to do another update in about an hour. I hope to have a little bit more on the conditions of the other 2 victims.
Is the shooter dead?
The shooter is deceased.
How is he deceased?
We believe at this time investigators are still questioning the individual involved, but it appears that a good Samaritan that was armed observed the shooting in progress and shot the shooter.
I find him to be an absolute hero.
I cannot believe it. Can you believe there was an armed citizen there?
I feel sorry for the guy that shot the guy. You know, I mean, he's got to live with that the rest of his life.
Today, autopsy results revealed the suspect was hit 8 times from 40 yards away. So when you factor in the short time span this all unfolded, it is pretty incredible. So tonight, Lauren Kostick joins us live from the newsroom to put all of this in perspective. Lauren?
Yes, Scott, and those numbers are impressing many gun experts we spoke with tonight who say it's not just the time that's notable, but also the distance.
Stand by.
When it comes to shooting, time, distance, and accuracy matters.
Yeah, he was definitely aiming those shots.
A newly released timeline from Greenwood Police shows 22-year-old Eli Dicken took the suspect out within 15 seconds of the shooter opening fire on the food court. Despite standing about 40 yards away, he was still able to hit the shooter 8 times. It's something Mark Welter with Indy Arms says isn't impossible, but does take a lot of practice.
What impressed me the most as far as your average civilian shooter was not the number of rounds fired, not the hit rate, not the time, but the distance.
So we tried it out, putting the target 25 yards out.
Stand by.
Okay, so that was 7 seconds to draw and get off 10 rounds at 25 yards. And I'm low on a lot of them.
And we tried it again, this time with someone else. He got the same time, but instead, all 10 shots hit the target. And this is without the stress and adrenaline Dicken probably felt at the time.
To have that level of performance with that level of difficulty was just super, super impressive.
Police say Dicken had no police training or military background, saying he learned to shoot from his grandfather. Lessons that have now turned into life-saving action.
And he was a hero. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Lauren, tonight you found out just how rare this kind of ending is for these active shooter situations.
That's right, Scott. Tonight I dug through data from researchers who study active shooter events and train people on them. Only about 5% end the way this did. They reviewed about 464 shootings over 20 years. In 73 cases, a bystander stopped the shooter before police arrived. 49 of those happened when someone physically stopped them, and 24 happened when a witness shot them. Now, this is only for active shooting situations, but it shows how unique this was. And thankfully, Eli was in the right place at the right time, saving countless lives.
Yes, he did. Lauren, thank you.
So earlier this evening, we talked with Eli's lawyer, who says the 22-year-old is still working his way through what happened and says it's been a crazy couple of days, declining interview requests from local and national outlets. And around 9 tonight, we discovered this GoFundMe page to cover Eli's legal fees. This was set up by state lawmaker Jim Lucas, who represents Seymour, where Eli is from. Already, it's raised more than $5,000. And there's also a ton of support coming in for the 3 people who lost their lives. Pedro Pineda and his wife Rosa died in the attack, along with 30-year-old Victor Gomez. This weekend, there's a community fundraiser for their families near 30th and Lafayette Road. Tomorrow, we're expecting to talk with the organizers about how Hoosiers can help. There's also a GoFundMe account set up online.
Tonight, we also got our first glimpse at the frantic 911 calls made from inside the Greenwood Park Mall Sunday evening.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I'm at Greenwood Park Mall. There was an open shot fired.
Did you see what the person looked like?
No, I was in the store and everybody just started running.
Shoppers and workers running to safety while desperately calling for help.
Where in the mall are they? At the food court, there's 3 people dead.
The whole ordeal starting and ending in less than a minute, but the fear, panic, and trauma lasting much longer.
We heard the noise and we started running, and what was the traumatic part for me was that because of the noise, I started running my aged parents. In-laws are with me, and then 2 seconds later I'm like, I left my in-laws.
Tonight we still don't know the motive, but in the last few hours we learned new details about this investigation. The FBI is searching the suspect's phone at a local field office. They sent his laptop on to Quantico, both of which the suspect seemingly tried to destroy. We also reached out to the ATF tonight to see what they're doing with the suspect's 3 guns. We learned tonight they're running the 2 rifles and a handgun through their system to see if they're linked to other crimes.
New details now about the mass shooting at an Indiana mall that left 3 people dead. We're learning more about the attack, and the shopper used his own weapon to take down the gunman. Alex Perez is on the scene in Greenwood, Indiana. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, George. Authorities say they have no doubt that Good Samaritan who stepped in saved lives. They say he was able to stop the shooter in less than 2 minutes.
This morning, as Greenwood, Indiana authorities hunt for answers in that deadly mall shooting, investigators crediting a bystander, 22-year-old Elisha Dickin, who was legally armed, with stepping in and stopping the suspected shooter before more were killed.
How quickly does that bystander hero step in?
Within 2 minutes. The first shot was fired at, I believe, 5:55. I believe the suspect was neutralized at 5:57.
The terrifying moments of chaos and confusion unfolding Sunday evening.
I heard like 30 gunshots and I just saw people running towards the store.
Killed in the shooting near the mall food court, 56-year-old Pedro Pineda, his 37-year-old wife Rosa Rivera de Pineda, who were having dinner, and 30-year-old Victor Gomez. 2 others injured, including 12-year-old Bella Dick. Authorities identifying the suspected gunman as Jonathan Sapperman. Investigators say he entered the mall about 4:54 p.m. Sunday with 2 rifles and a pistol and more than 100 rounds of ammunition, and went straight to the bathroom where he stayed for about an hour.
He comes out, the very first person that he sees walking into the restroom, he fires on, shoots, then turns the gun to the food court and starts firing into the food court.
The Good Samaritan, hearing the gunshots, jumping into action, killing the suspect.
He was an excellent shot.
Investigators combing through the suspect's home, finding his laptop and a can of butane in his oven, which was turned on to high. The suspect, investigators say, had had a few minor run-ins with police. They describe him as a runaway, and over the past 2 years, family and friends tell police he'd been practicing at a nearby gun range. This morning, Elijah Dicken being heralded a hero. Dicken's attorney telling ABC News in a statement he is a true American hero who saved countless lives during a horrific event that could have been so much worse if not for Eli's courage, preparedness, and willingness to protect others.
Investigators say the suspect recently received an eviction notice and recently quit his job at a warehouse. An exact motive remains under investigation.
So this story is a few weeks old. It happened about July 19th, I believe was the date. Indiana allowed permitless carry on July 1st. So you see that this law is actually helping the citizens. Although you have a bad guy with a gun, what do they always say? The only thing that could stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And this man that stopped this active shooter did it in a short time, and he actually saved lives. And this is the positive that comes behind permitless carry, which some other states should probably consider. So just wanted to put this video out there so people can understand the different sides of the argument. There's definitely an argument against assault rifles at this time. It would be really unfortunate if we ban assault rifles and bad guys are still getting assault rifles and the good guys can't. The good citizens like this man who stopped this active shooter, if people like this can't get a hold of weapons that the bad guys are able to get a hold of, because they'll still get it whether it's legal or not.